Hi everyone, this is Ashley with Marshflower Studio again. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I make my little axolotl keychains. They're very fun, fast, easy projects to make, and with the popularity of axolotls right now, these things sell like crazy. So the only part you have to sew on to attach are these little gill things on the sides, and then you can have them with a keychain or without, up to you. So I do use 6mm eyes for these, so make sure you've got your eyes handy. I've got my two different colors of pink, and you can do these in whatever color you want to make them. Next on my list, I'm going to have like a super dark blue, and then have that kind of almost neon blue for the gills. Love those allergies. And you can make their smile as quirky or cute as you would like to. So I've got another one here that I've started. I just haven't attached the little side pieces yet, and I haven't given him a mouth yet. But I've got my darker pink. This is Raspberry from the Karen 1 Pound group. The pink that I'm using is the baby pink from the Red Heart Super Saver. And then I use just a really thin black for the mouth on a lot of these. This is a number 3 light. It kind of feels more like a number 2, if I'm being honest. But I like to use one that's a little thinner for details on faces, especially when I'm doing something as small as this. So there's our materials for today. I've got my 4mm hook, because if you've watched any of my other videos with the smaller keychain items, you'll know that I like to have my stitches be a little tighter, a little firmer with these. When you are using them as a keychain or as a, attached to a zipper or a backpack, you don't want them to get pulled loose and start to come undone. So if you make them a little bit more tight and stiff, that doesn't tend to happen. I've got a stuffing stick that'll help poke these little feet out when you get to that part. And of course, we always have some sort of yarn needle so that we can tuck in our tails. And stuffing. Gotta have some stuffing. So without further ado, slide that back just a little bit. We are going to start with a magic circle, and we're going to have 6 single crochets in our magic circle. Now, if you're not familiar with a magic circle, you can do a chain 2 and then just put 6 single crochets in that second chain from the hook. Okay, I like the magic circle because it's right here on the very front of the face, and I don't want it to have any open gap there. So with the magic circle, you can pull that nice and tightly closed. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pull that tight. And then our second row is going to be an increase in each stitch all the way around. So 2 single crochets in each of the previous stitches. So there's 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12. Okay, our next row is going to be an increase and then a single crochet. So we'll have 18 total for this row. We'll have 1 and 2, and then 3, 4 and 5, and then 6, and 7, 8, and then 9, 10, and 11, and then 12, 13, 14, and 15, 16, and 17, and then 18. Okay, so that's the face of your little axolotl. We're going to do 2 rows of single crochet, so 2 rows of 18. And then we're going to have a special row to make those legs. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There's one row. Second row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. For our next row, we're going to be creating the bobble stitches or popcorn stitches, whichever way you call them, to make those front legs. So we're going to start with, we're going to yarn over and go through that next stitch, yarn over, pull up, yarn over and pull through the first 2, and then we're going to repeat that so we have 6 total loops on our hook. So we've got 2 already. So then we have so now I have 6 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 6, and then I'm just going to chain 1, and I feel like that just pulls this together so that it makes it pop out really nicely once you get to that part. So then we're going to do 2 single crochets. So 1, 2, and you're going to repeat your little bobble popcorn here. I'm going to do the same thing again. Pull through the first 2, yarn over and go back through the hole. So we do that 5 times, and that gives us the 6 loops on our hook, because you've got 1 from the very beginning. Pull through 6. So then we're going to have 14 single crochets to get us back to the start of the round. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Okay. So after that row with the legs, we're going to have 3 rows of single crochet. So 18 single crochets per row, and I usually wait until after I finish those to put the eyes on the face, okay, because I'll have my front legs pushed out at that point, and it's really easy to see kind of where you need to line them up to go. And if you do the bobble stitches like I do, you turned your one stitch into two, so you need to make sure you only use one of these stitches where that little bobble popcorn is, okay? And I usually don't use this longer one, because when I use the short one from that little chain that I made, it kind of helps that bobble stitch really poke out nicely. When you put it in the long stitch, these tend to be a little more flat, and I like when they pop up. It's kind of the point, right? So make sure you skip one of those. Again, I'm skipping that long stitch. Okay. So once you're back around at the beginning, you have 2 more rows of 18. Okay, so I've got my 3 rows, and at any point, if you're not in the same place that I am, just hit pause, right? I'm going to take my stuffing stick, I'm going to poke these little popcorn feet out to the outside. You can use whatever works for you. I just happen to like the stuffing sticks. They don't typically get caught on anything when you're using them. So I can see where my little feet go. I'm going to get some eyes. I do use the safety eyes. Again, these are 6mm eyes. And you want to kind of just line them up with that center magic ring. And I usually put mine a row or 2, usually 2, outside. So you don't want it against the magic ring in that next kind of ring. All right, so pop the backs on these. And I learned this trick recently, but you can melt the backs of these a little bit and flatten them out to really make sure that these little plastic washers don't pop off just from pulling on them. So now it can't fit over that unless somebody manages to break that part off too. And at that point, it's not about, you know, the safety eyes not being safe. It's about somebody trying to destroy it. Okay, so I've got my eyes. I'm gonna go back to my hook. And we're gonna do the back legs. So I do my little popcorn first because I like my back legs to be just outside of my front legs. But depending on your tension, your yarn, your hook size, you may need to do a single crochet before you do your back legs. Just keep that in mind. Just make sure that you have 18 total stitches at the end of the row. And you can pop those legs in wherever you feel like they should be. So I'm going to do my little popcorn. 3, 4, 5, and I'll pull through all. And I also like to put 3 single crochets in between the back legs. Just kind of helps with that spacing. Do the other popcorn. So we did a popcorn or a puff or a bobble, whichever way you go. 3 single crochets and then another little popcorn here. And then we'll have 13 single crochets to get us back to the end of the row. Okay, so now we're going to start with some decrease rows. And again, make sure that you're only using one of these stitches from those feet. We're going to do 3 single crochets in a decrease till we get back around. And then we're going to do another row of 3 single crochets in a decrease just till you get back to the end. And then we will have a row of 2 single crochets and a decrease, and then a row of single crochets and a decrease. So we're really just kind of pulling the back of this little butt down into the little point tail. And if you want to add an extra row of just single crochets in there, that's totally fine. It's not going to make your little axolotl look super weird. But you can make the tail longer if you would like. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and that first decrease usually falls right on one of these little legs, so make sure again you're only using one of those stitches from that foot. Again, we do have 2 rows where we're just continuing to do 3 single crochets and a decrease. Just kind of gradually pulling that tail in. right, so before I do that next row where we have 2 single crochets and a decrease, I'm going to pop these little back feet out with my stuffing stick. And I'm going to put a little stuffing up in this little axolotl body. Ooh. So the stuffing that I use is just polyfill. It's the same kind of stuff they put in pillows, stuffed animals you buy at the store. There are different kinds of filler that you can use depending on, you know, if you want to make everything super hypoallergenic, or if you want to use foam. A lot of people use yarn scraps to stuff in there. However you want to stuff it, it's totally up to you. I do leave my tail out, like most of my other videos, because I use that to tie off at the end with a little knot before I hide my tails. It just helps to make them a little bit more secure. So when you have toddlers that are really into figuring stuff out and they try to figure out how to take your crochet work apart, you learn a thing or two. So 2 single crochets and a decrease all the way around. And then our last row is just going to be single and decrease. I'm going to try to get a little bit more stuffing in the back of his butt here so his tail doesn't feel completely deflated. We just single and decrease until there's nothing left. I don't like getting too small because then it's just irritating to work with. I'm going to fasten off there. We'll do the invisible finish. So we'll take our yarn needle and we're going to go through these last couple single crochets, outside loop only or front loop only, from the outside to the inside, all the way around. Just pull that closed. Again, I'll tie a little knot and then tuck these tails up through the body. Oop. You can use your yarn needle to kind of pop that butt back out. Just do it gently so you don't end up making big gaps in your stitches. Okay, he's kind of cute just like this. All right, so now we're going to work on the gills, and I've got my darker pink, my raspberry for this, and we're going to do a slip knot. So we're going to make a chain. And we're going to have a chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to slip stitch 3. So back up the chain. There's 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Then we're going to do another chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Still attached. And slip stitch 3 back up this one. 1, 2, and 3. Again, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 3 slip stitches back up that chain. Okay, and then we're just going to fasten it off. We'll cut enough of a tail to use for sewing. And when we put this on, we just want to line it up, let's see, right along the side of his head. You kind of want to be in between the foot and the eye. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So right behind the 4th row is where we're going to put this. And we're just going to do a couple little quick stitches to hold this in place. Okay. Boop. So again, I like to tie this off with a little knot. And then we will thread it down through. Trim off the extra. Okay, so he's got part of his little gills. I'll get the other part in just a second. Go ahead and do his mouth. So you just need a little section of your mouth color. And I like to kind of try to make a little V shape right here between his eyes at the bottom of that magic circle. So go in just like this. This is definitely not one of my favorite parts of making these little guys. There you go. So again, we'll just do a little knot, tie tie that off and then stick these tails down through the middle as well. So it's got a quirky little smile, ready to go. And that is it for your little axolotl. Obviously you need 2 gills for yours. And I'm going to make my other one right now. But that is the finished product. And you can put your little keychain on there. Like I said earlier, you can do whatever different colors you want to do. You change it up. Instead of putting the gills on the side, you could give them, you know, a little mohawk down the back. You could still add the mohawk kind of thing down the back of them if you want. But super cute, super fun, fast to make. And if you like to sell your things, these do really well. So we get his other gill made here and get that attached. Make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe so you can, distracting myself. If you subscribe, then you'll see notifications for any other videos that I post. Make sure you hit that like button. Makes me happy to see that people are enjoying these patterns that I come up with. If you share any of your finished stuff, share it with me. You can tag it or just send it in a message. I would love to see what you make. There's one lady that has made some of the little possums and shared them, and I love seeing all the comments that she got about those adorable little possums that she made. So in the description box there are links to lots of other things that I do. There will be a link for the written pattern there as well. So if you prefer to just have the written pattern, which is quite honestly what I like to have, you can follow that link to get the written pattern. Or if you're stubborn like me, you can just write down the pattern from the video, which is something I also do quite a bit. I don't make up every single pattern of everything that I make, because if somebody else has already figured it out, why reinvent the wheel, right? Sometimes I like to do little things like this just because it makes me happy. And I'll have someone come up to me at a craft sale or a vendor event and ask if I can make, you know, a little possum or a little mouse or a little axolotl. Or they'll ask me to make some of the Disney characters that are their favorites. And if there's already a pattern for it that I can get off of Etsy, or even better, a free pattern online for it, we'll go that route. If I can't find what exactly I'm looking for, then I'll take the time and make my own pattern for it. But there's our little axolotl friend, all finished. And one of the things that I have done with a recent project is I've started using more magnets. And this is, you know, in no way am I earning any kind of money on, you know, recommending certain kinds of yarns or certain brands of magnets, but I have found that the rare earth magnets actually work through the 2 layers of yarn. So if you wanted to have, you know, your 2 little axolotls be able to kiss and be magnet stuck together, try those. Okay, I've tried a couple different kinds of magnets and they never seem strong enough to actually hold through the 2 layers of yarn, but these rare earth magnets actually do the trick. So little tip if you want to try that out. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy making these little axolotls, and I'll see you next time. Happy hooking, crochet nerds!